So we're doing the quadratic formula. Now, you're going to use the quadratic formula when you can't factorize or if you have to complete the square to factorize. So last lesson we looked at doing the null factor law, which is when you had the two brackets and you solved each bracket to equal 0. The quadratic formula is another way to solve for x. So basically all you're doing is substituting. I know it looks complicated, but that's pretty much all you're actually doing. So this is your quadratic in polynomial form. Your ax squared plus bx plus c, right? That's polynomial form. Now, in that form, you can take your a value, your b value, and your c value and put them into your quadratic formula. This here is your quadratic formula. This is a plus and a minus. So what you're going to end up with is two solutions. One where you're going to have this number plus what's in the square root and the negative b minus what's in the square root. So you're going to end up with two solutions, one with a plus in the middle, one with a minus in the middle. Similar to when we're completing the square, that's where this quadratic formula comes from the steps involved in completing the square. This is just a quick way to get there without having to actually complete the square. Brianna?
So x is going to equal two numbers? Like
yes, you're going to have two solutions. Great. Now, I've got in yellow here a super important point. So once you've done your b squared minus 4ac, if that comes out negative, there's no solution to the equation. Can someone tell me why? Can you take the square root of a negative? No, you can't take the square root of a negative. It doesn't exist. So if inside that square root, once you've done b squared minus 4ac and it comes out as a negative, it means there is no solution. And when we look at graphing quadratics, you'll realize why we don't have solutions. But for now, we're just going with no solution. Brianna? No, it means there's no solution at all. Yes. So looking at our first one, I am going to write down the quadratic formula for us. So it will be, you will have your books with you. It's to your benefit to remember it. It's just a lot quicker. So we have negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. There is a song on YouTube that you can memorize and listen to. It makes it easy for you. I'll post it to the channel. Okay, so looking at this 3 is my A. The 4 is my B, and it's going to be a plus 4 because that's plus 4x. The negative does matter. So it's going to be the B, and my C is going to be the plus 1. Now, it has to be equal to 0. Same as when we were solving the other ones, my equation is equal to 0. You can't solve until your equation is equal to 0. If there's a number there, move it over to the other side, and then you can do this. Okay, so let's substitute. So my negative b, so negative 4, because 4 is b, plus or minus the square root of 4 squared, because it's b again, minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is 1. And then on the bottom of the fraction, I have 2 times a, which is 3 again. So let's simplify everything. Let's make it look a bit neater. So negative 4 is obviously just going to be negative 4 plus or minus the square root. 4 squared is 16. 4 times 3 is 12. Times 1 is 12. So I'm going to have 16 minus 12 in there. 2 times 3 is 6. And I'm just going to keep simplifying. It takes a couple of steps. So I'm going to keep that negative 4, but inside the square root this time. 16 minus 12 is 4 over 6. Then my next line down, negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 4, which is 2 over 6. Okay, now that I've fully sorted out that square root sign, this is where we split off into two solutions. One with the plus, and then the other is going to have the minus. So in my plus, I'm going to have -4. The numbers stay the same, plus 2 over 6. And in my other solution, I'm going to have -4 minus 2 over 6. So they're my two solutions separated now. I've gotten rid of my plus minus. I've separated the plus and minus. So I'm going to have over here -4 plus 2 is -2. So I'm going to have -2 over 6, which is -1/3 once you simplify it. And then -4 minus 6 is -6 over 6, which is equal to -1. So my two solutions for x are -1 and -1/3. That's how I get my two solutions. Any questions? Okay, we're good so far? Okay, let's have a go at B. Okay, so labeling my A, B, and C. My -3 is A, my -6 is B, and my -1 is C. So I've got a lot of negatives in there this time. So filling them all in. Now I had a couple of questions about the B. Yes, if it is negative, it does change to a positive. So I'm going to have negative of -6 plus or minus the square root of -6 squared. So any negative squared is going to become a positive also. Minus 4 times A, which is -3 times -1. All over 2 times A, which is -3. Okay, so let's simplify. Negative of -6 is +6, plus or minus the square root of 36. -6 times -6 is +36. -4 times -3 is +12, times -1 is -12. Over 2 times -3, which is -6. Okay, simplifying again. 36 minus 12 is square root of 24, which this time we've not ended up with a square number, over -6. Now at this point, do not cancel the sixes, because you cannot cancel a 6 here. Sorry, I don't know why it's lagging on the recording. Do not cancel the sixes when there's a plus there. You can only cancel one on the top and one on the bottom if everything on the top and everything on the bottom is being multiplied. We have addition on the top and subtraction, which means that that rule does not apply. If you are going to cancel by a factor, it must be available to cancel from every single term. At the moment, I can cancel the 2 6s, but that square root of 24, I can't cancel out a 6 there. So I can't cancel as of yet. Now, a lot of you got stuck at this point. The next point is to simplify surds. That's why we do the unit first, so you know how to simplify surds. So, as a reminder, you are finding two factors that multiply to 24, one of which has to be a squared number. So, 4 and 6 are those two numbers. So, you're going to square root that 4, and it comes out the front as 2, and the square root of 6 stays in the middle, over -6. Now at this point you can cancel by a factor of 2. 2 is the highest common factor that goes into all of those three terms. So I'm going to cancel everything by a factor of 2. I'm just going to rewrite my answer. Okay, so given that I said I couldn't cancel the 6s before, I obviously cannot cancel these 3s either. At this point is where I split my answers again. So 3 plus root 6 over -3 and 3 minus root 6 over -3. Now the question has asked for the answer in a decimal value. If it was in an exact value, this is where it would stay. So this is exact value. The question has asked for it into 2 decimal places, so I'm going to go one step further and type each of these solutions into my calculator. So for this first solution of 3 plus square root 6 over negative 3, that's going to give me negative 1.82. And then 3 minus the square root of 6 over negative 3 is going to give me negative 0.18. So these are my 2 solutions for x.